The stars were quiet. Peace had lasted for nearly 200 years. Earth had become a respected member of the Galactic Council, or so humans believed. Ambassador Rehan stood on the shining floor of the Grand Council chamber. Alien leaders sat around. Himtal insectoids from Halkar, glowing minds from the Etheri, and cold-blooded Varnak generals. They watched him with fake smiles. Rehan cleared his throat and spoke. Earth offers the new energy cores we developed. We believe it will benefit all member worlds. No one clapped. No one responded. Council leader Torvik of the Varnak stood. His face was emotionless. Earth's offer is... noted. Rehan felt the chill. Something was wrong. The Council always welcomed new tech, especially from humans. But this time, silence ruled the chamber. Later, as he walked back to his ship, Rehan messaged Earth. Something is not right. I feel we've been shut out. Preparing full report. He never reached his ship. CCTV footage later showed Rehan talking to someone in the shadows. Moments later, there was an explosion. His body was never found. The Council claimed it was an accident. Earth demanded an investigation. The Council refused. 3 weeks later, Earth cut all communication with the Galactic Council. People across Earth were shocked. News spread fast. Ambassador, dead Earth, calls at a murder. At a bit deep underground, hidden from public view, Earth's military already knew the truth. They had been watching. Spies in Council space had warned about secret meetings where alien leaders discussed Earth's rapid growth. The Council feared humans were moving too fast. It's becoming too strong. One of Earth's hidden agents had recorded the Council's true plan. In a dark chamber, Council leaders had voted. A simple sentence was spoken. Slow the humans, by any means. That was the betrayal. Earth's President Arya Kale stood before the commanders of Earth's secret fleet. They think we are weak. They think we will bow. But they forgot one thing, she said. Her voice was cold, sharp. We are human. She turned toward the screen. It showed a star map with marked targets, council stations, supply routes, weak systems. She pointed, begin silent storm protocol. Activate all black fleets. Prepare for war. Across the solar system, silent alarms rang in deep bunkers and asteroid bases. Massive warships, hidden for years beneath Martian soil and Saturn's rings, powered up. On the surface, people went on with their lives. No one knew war was coming, not yet. At a secret space station above Pluto, Commander Lyra stepped onto the bridge of the dreadnought Horizon Breaker. She had trained her crew in silence for years. Now the silence ended. Begin engine warm-up, she ordered. The giant ship shook as its gravity core roared to life. A junior officer asked, Is this really happening? Lyra nodded. The Council betrayed Earth. Now, we answer. Meanwhile, the Council remained confident. They believed Earth was isolated. They believed humans had no real fleet, no real allies. They were wrong. Beyond the edge of Council space, small human outposts had made quiet friendships with minor alien racist species ignored and mistreated by the Council for years. Now, they were listening to Earth. One of them, a bird-like species called the Yatari, sent a message. We have seen what they did to your ambassador. You are not alone. Back on Earth, a secret AI named Sentinel sent a final code to all human fleets. Phase 1 complete, awaiting next order in the darkness of space. Dozens of cloaked human ships began moving, slowly, carefully heading toward their targets. The stars did not change, but something in the galaxy had shifted. The betrayal had awakened something old in humans, something fierce, something unstoppable, and now, human warships were roaring back into the stars. Mars looked peaceful from Spacecom red deserts, old mining stations, and quiet research domes. But deep under its surface, something powerful had started to wake up. No one knew it yet. But the war had already begun. Council spy ships moved slowly through the outer edges of the solar system. Their shapes were small, quiet, invisible to most scanners. One of them, the Silencer, crept close to Mars. It watched the planet carefully. For weeks, it had seen strange activities, Small heat signatures, shifting magnetic fields, hidden energy. Spikes. The spy captain sent a message back to the council. Earth is hiding something. Heavy tech moving underground. Suggests full scan. But before the message reached its destination, the silencer vanished. The council never heard from it. Again, on Mars, underground bunkers lit up with red alarms. In one of the deepest levels, Commander Juno stood in a war room with glowing maps. All systems green. 37 warships ready, a tech officer said. Commander Juno nodded. Any detection? Unknown ship approached. It was neutralized. Silent. Methashi turned to the large screen showing live feeds of massive ships hidden under Mars' surface. For decades they had slept beneath fake mining fields. Now they were waking. Launch Phase 2, Juno ordered. All Martian fleets prepare for deep space movement. Across the base, giant metal doors opened under the sand. Dust flew into the sky as ships rose from the ground like sleeping beasts. Their black hulls reflected no light, no sound, no signal. Humans had learned from the council. They had learned how to be invisible. Above Mars, civilian traffic moved as normal. Cargo shuttles, research drones, tourist flights. None of them saw what was happening below, but one man did. Derek Tolan, an old mechanic, working at a small refueling station on Phobos, looked at a strange radar blip. It came and went. It moved like nothing he'd seen before. He called his supervisor. You seeing this? The man on the screen looked nervous. Forget it. We're told to ignore any anomalies. Direct order from Earth Command. Derek frowned. That's not normal. Something big is happening. Back on Earth, President Arya Kale received a report. It read, Mars activation successful. Council probe eliminated. Civilian risk low. She stared at the holographic map. Blue dots showed Earth's warships now leaving Mars and heading toward Council border systems. She pressed a button. Send coded message to Commander Lyra. Operation Ghost Hammer begins now. In the far reaches of space, the dreadnought Horizon Breaker received the signal. Commander Lyra stood with her hands behind her back, her face calm but cold. They still think Earth has no real military, she said quietly. Let them keep thinking. She looked at her second in command. Where is the next move? Is us? Officer replied, Vega Station, major fuel hub. Heavy council presence, but weak defenses. Lyra nodded. Perfect. We strike it first. Meanwhile, back at the council's central command, unease was growing. Multiple scout ships had gone missing. But the council still refused to believe Earth had the power to be a threat. We would have seen signs, said council leader Torvik. They're bluffing. Humans love drama. But one alien admiral, an Athari named Veshin, wasn't so sure. She looked at the pattern of lost ships. They are not bluffing, she whispered. They are planning something. She sent a warning. Message to a nearby council outpost near Earth space. Crease scans. Watch Mars. Something is hiding there. But the message came too late. By the time it reached the station, Mars' skies had already emptied. Dozens of human warships had left, their engines cold, their paths hidden. No signals. No comes. The Black Fleet had vanished into deep space like ghosts. Back on Earth, Sentinel sent out another coded message to all human fleets. Council blind. Next phase. Strike with precision. In a hidden spaceport near Jupiter, a group of elite pilots stood beside their ships. They had no markings, no names, only numbers. These were Earth's Shadow Wings fighters, trained to end battles before they began. A commander stepped forward. You all know what's at stake. This war won't be fought with honor. It will be won with surprise. He looked at them. Show the council what happens when they betray the wrong species. They saluted in silence. Back on Mars, only dust remained where the ships had once been. The planet was quiet again. Peaceful. As if nothing had happened. But above it, in the dark sky, a council probe watched from far away. It saw nothing unusual. It sent a report back to the council. Mars. No threat detected. Earth's activity normal. The council smiled. They believed the humans were quiet. They were wrong. Vega Station floated near the edge of council territory. It was a massive refueling hub, built around a dying red star. Ships from every corner of the galaxy stopped there. Trade routes passed through it. Council warships used it for resupply. And now it was Earth's first target. No one at Vega Station expected war. The guards were lazy. Scanners were outdated. The crew believed humans were still weak, still hiding. They were wrong. Deep in space. Just 1 hour away, the human dreadnought Horizon Breaker waited in the shadow of a frozen moon. Its engines were cold. Its weapons were locked, but ready. Inside the command room, Commander Lyra stood still, staring at the glowing map. Dozens of blue dots marked her fleet stealth cruisers, heavy destroyers, and fast strike wings. She turned to her officers. Vega Station holds a council fuel cache. Without it, their fleets slow down. A pilot asked, "Do we hit hard?" Lyra's voice was calm. No warnings, no mercy. She raised her hand. Attack begins in 60 seconds. Across the fleet, lights changed from blue to red. Pilots slid into cockpits. AI drones activated. Weapon systems came online in perfect silence. Back at Vega Station, an alien technician noticed something strange. One of the outer scanners had shut off. He tapped the console. Strange. Scanner 4 just went dark. Another officer shrugged. Old system. Probably a glitch. But then Scanner 5 went dark, and then Scanner 6. Suddenly, the alarms rang. Unidentified ships approaching. 12 no, 20. They're fast. The station's defense. AI struggled to respond. By the time it activated the defense cannons, the first human missiles had already hit. Explosions ripped through the outer docking rings. Fuel tanks burst into fire. Emergency lights blinked as smoke filled the hallways. A council guard ran toward the main tower. Get the fleet online. Call for help. But there was no time. Earth's stealth fighters sliced through the sky like shadows. They jammed communications. They disabled escape pods. No signals escaped the station. Inside the chaos, one council admiral, a Varnock named Krell, grabbed a blaster and ran to the command bridge. He had served in 5 wars. He knew how to fight. But when he looked out the window, he froze. Earth's dreadnought had arrived. The Horizon Breaker was bigger than any ship he had seen. Its black hull shimmered with strange patterns. It didn't fire lasers. It fired silent, strange weapons that bent gravity and tore ships apart without sound. This is not human technology, Krell whispered. The command bridge exploded. Before he finished speaking, in just 23 minutes, Vega Station was destroyed, not captured. It's not disabled, destroyed. Earth took nothing, no resources, no prisoners, except one. Back on the Horizon Breaker, 2 soldiers dragged a prisoner into the war room. It was a high-ranking council General Zarek of the Athari. He was wounded, angry, and confused. "You can't do this," he hissed. "This is a war crime." Commander Lyra stepped forward. "You started the war the day you murdered Ambassador." Rayan Jarak stared at her. "That wasn't our order." She leaned closer. "Then tell me who gave it." Jarak stayed silent. Lyra didn't press him. She knew time would make him speak. Back on Earth, the AI Sentinel sent a single message to President Arya Kale. Target eliminated. No Earth casualties. 1 prisoner secured. Arya nodded. We walked into a private chamber where a group of Earth's generals and scientists waited. "Begin analysis," she said. "We need to know everything about the Council's defenses. Start with the prisoner." One of the scientists spoke. "Vega Station had jamming fields we didn't expect, but our gravity weapons cut through them." "Any sign the Council knows what hit them?" Arya asked. The general smiled. "They still think it was pirates. We left no trace." Across Council space, panic was starting to grow. The Council received a broken message. ... Number. Warning. ... Black ships. They're not using standard weapons. ... Vega is gone. ... Council leader Torvik stared at the report. This is not possible, he said. Earth doesn't have this kind of power. But Admiral Veshin disagreed. She stepped forward, eyes serious. They've been preparing for years, and we ignored them now. We are the ones in the dark. Torvik slammed his hand on the table. Find them now. But it was too late. Earth had struck hard, silent, clean, and they were already moving to their next target. General Jarak of the Ethery sat in a cold, dark room. His hands were bound. A thin light shined above him. The walls were smooth metal, no windows, no clocks. He had no idea where he was. He had been a respected council, leader, feared, trusted. Now he was a prisoner of the humans. He had expected torture, interrogation, pain. But instead, they gave him food, clean water, medical treatment for his wounds. Still, no one asked questions. For 2 days, they said nothing. Then, the door opened. A human woman stepped into all, calm, her uniform sharp and clean. She placed a small device on the table. I'm Commander Lyra, she said. You're not here to suffer. You're here to talk. Jarak laughed bitterly. Talk. You destroyed Vega Station. You murdered my people. Lyra didn't react. You murdered ours first. Don't pretend to be innocent. Drak's eyes narrowed. That was not an official order. We didn't plan Rion's death. Lyra leaned forward. Then tell me who did. Sharak stayed quiet. Lyra stood and turned to leave. But before she reached the door, Sharak spoke. There was a vote, he said. A secret vote. Years ago, Lyra froze. Sharak looked down at the table. The council feared humanity. You grow too fast, think too fast, build faster than any other race. They said you were dangerous. He looked up. So we slowed your progress. Silently, Lyra stepped back toward him. How? Technology blocks. Trade restrictions, fake regulations. We even planted corrupted data in your research networks. You thought it was just delay, it was sabotage. Lyra's jaw tightened, and Rock hesitated. One of the council's black units followed him. Their job was to scare him, make him leave. But someone pushed it too far. She stared at him. Give me the name. He shook his head. You think it matters? Everyone voted. Everyone was guilty. She turned and left the room. In another chamber, Earth scientists and military officers watched the entire conversation through a screen. One of them, a genetics expert, looked puzzled. We ran his blood. There's something strange. She said what? Asked the general. Traces of gene modification? Not natural, recent. The room went silent. Explain, the general said. This theory was enhanced, likely by the council, maybe even controlled. President Arya Kale watched. From a secure link, she had heard enough. Broadcast his confession. Across the galaxy, she said. Open transmission? Yes, she said. Let everyone know what the council truly is. Soon, every corner of known space received the message. From backwater colonies to rich core worlds, the video played. General Jarak's face appeared. His voice echoed. There was a vote. The council feared humanity, so we slowed them.
Secretly?
Millions watched. Some in shock, some in anger.
Some with silent approval?
On Zentha Prime, a busy council world, workers stopped in the streets. Screens. Students at the university watched with wide eyes. One young alien, part of a factory crew, whispered to his friend, They lied to us. That night, fires broke out across Zentha Prime. Riots, protests, shouts of truth for Earth. Echoed in the cities, police tried to stop it, but the crowd only grew stronger in the shadows. A small rebel group activated their hidden weapons. They had been waiting now. Earth had given them a reason. Back on the human fleet, Lyra received new reports sent the Prime in chaos. 5 other council planets showing unrest. She smiled faintly. The council won't break from our guns, but they might break from the truth. Another officer entered. President Kale has a message. Screen lit up. Lyra Arya said, "We've done what no weapon can do. We turned the people against their rulers." Lyra nodded. "The prisoner. Keep him alive," Arya replied. "He's worth more breathing than buried." Far away, in the deepest council chambers, panic had set in. Council leader Torvik slammed his fists on the table. How did they get the video? Where was our security? No one had answers. Admiral Veshin spoke calmly. "The people are listening to Earth. We can't stop the message now," Torvik hissed. "Then destroy the messengers." But the truth was already spreading faster than any fleet. In quiet corners of space, alien captains removed their council. Flags. On abandoned moons, hidden rebels sent one signal. "We see you, Earth. Stand by." The galaxy was changing, not just because of war, but because one truth had been spoken, and now everyone was listening. The Alexa system was beautiful and deadly. It held 3 suns, burning in red, blue, and gold. Their light twisted space. Gravity flowed strangely here. Only the most skilled navigators dared to pass. Now both Earth and the Council had chosen this place for the final battle. The Council had gathered everything they had, 300 warships, 50 dreadnoughts, and elite squadrons from across their empire. Torvik himself stood aboard the massive flagship Vengeance of Unity. "This ends today," he growled. "Earth dies here." Admiral Veshin stood beside him, her eyes cold. "We underestimated them before. We must not do it again." Torvik raised his hand. "No mercy, no peace offers. Total destruction." Far away, hidden in the gravity shadows of the blue sun, Earth's fleets waited. Commander Lyra stood at the center of the Horizon Breaker's bridge. The light from the 3 suns painted her face in strange colors. But her voice remained steady. "All squadrons report ready," said her officer. "We have 600 ships in formation." Lyra nodded. "Good, today we end this war." The silence before battle was deep, like the space between 2 heartbeats. Then, Earth's fleets moved. They didn't come in straight lines. They came in waves. Side patterns. Warp jumps. Cloaked leaps. The Council expected a traditional fight. Instead, they faced chaos. Within minutes, the Council's forward lines were hit. Ships exploded. Engines failed. Communications jammed. Attack came from everywhere. Council ships returned fire, filling space with plasma, missiles, and lasers. But most shots missed. Earth's AI-controlled drones moved too fast, too unpredictably. And the human pilots used something machines could not match: imagination. One pilot, call sign Shade 5, dove into the red sun's magnetic field, vanished, and reappeared behind a Council frigate blasting it apart before the crew could react. Another, Gu7, led 3 Council fighters into the corona of the gold sun. Only she came out, inside the Vengeance of Unity. Admiral Veshin watched the battle unfold in horror. "They're not fighting like any species we've known," she whispered. "They're adapting." Torvik snarled, then crushed them with brute force. He ordered all dreadnoughts forward, but Earth was ready. The Horizon Breaker launched its most powerful weapon, a silent core missile. It didn't explode. Instead, it bent the gravity field of the nearest sun. The sudden shift pulled 6 Council ships into the star. The battlefield twisted, space bent. Even time itself seemed to slow. Back on Earth, President Arya Kale watched the live stream. Her hands were tight behind her back, but her voice was calm. "Status." Officer replied, "We've lost 27 ships. They've lost 94. Arya nodded. "Keep pressure, no retreat." Across the galaxy, trillions watched the battle through pirate feeds and hacked transmissions. People cheered. Some cried. Others stayed silent, shocked. The question was no longer if Earth could win. It was how far they would go. Back in Alexis, Commander Lyra made her final move. All ships phase Omega. Instantly, Earth's fleet split into 3 wings. Each one attacked from a different sun. The light blinded sensors. The heat hid missiles. The timing was perfect, within minutes. The Council's core fleet broke. The massive vengeance of Unity came under direct fire. Explosions rocked the bridge. Admiral Veshin grabbed the controls. "We must surrender." Torvik roared, "Never." But it was too late. Human boarding ships attached themselves to the Council flagship. Soldiers poured in fast, silent, and unstoppable. In less than 20 minutes, Vengeance of Unity was surrounded. Torvik stood alone, blood on his armor. He looked up as Commander Lyra stepped onto the ruined bridge. He raised his weapon, but she simply said, "It's over." He dropped the weapon. Lyra sent one message to Earth: "The enemy has fallen. The Council's power is broken." Back on Earth, people filled the streets. No one told them to come. They came millions, standing under the stars, watching. The Sky.ai Sentinel broadcasted the final word: "Victory confirmed. Human forces now control the Alexis system. The Council has surrendered." But Earth did not cheer. There was no dancing, no wild celebration, because humans had learned something painful. Winning was not the end now. They had to decide what came next. The war was over. The Council had fallen. Its fleets were gone. Its leaders either captured or in hiding. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy stood without a ruler, but the silence was heavy. On the bridge of the Horizon Breaker, Commander Lyra watched the stars. Her hands were steady, but her thoughts were not. "We won," her officer said beside her. Lyra nodded slowly. "But what do we do now?" Across the galaxy, everyone waited. Would Earth take revenge? Would they build an empire of their own? The old Council worlds were watching. The neutral systems, the rebels. The people Earth had helped now looking to them for leadership. President Arya Kale sat in Earth's Grand Assembly, surrounded by generals, scientists, and newly formed ambassadors from many species. A hologram of the galaxy floated in the middle of the room. "We have the power to control it all," said General Merrick. Arya looked at him, "And that's why we won't." Silence filled the chamber. Arya stood up. "We were betrayed by the Council because they feared our rise. They ruled through fear, through lies, and control. We will not become them." She pointed to the star map. "Earth will not take territory. We will not demand tribute. We will build something new." The ambassador from Zentha Prime stood. "Then, what will Earth do?" Rhea smiled gently. "We will form a new council, one where every species has an equal seat, including humans. One vote, one voice." Some doubted her. Others tested her. But Earth kept its word. Ships once made for war now carried food, medicine, and engineers to rebuild. Human AI helped repair broken space stations. Earth fleets protected supply routes for every free system, not just their allies. Slowly, trust returned. The prisoner, General Jarak, sat in a peaceful Earth facility. He was no longer locked in a cell. He watched the news, humans rebuilding. Zentha, helping the Atari, welcoming the Serix to the stars. He shook his head, amazed. They didn't take revenge. They rewrote the rules. One by one, more systems joined Earth's new alliance. They called it the Free Star Union. Its laws were simple. No species ruled another. No voice was ignored. And no betrayal would be forgotten. The galaxy was changing. On the surface of Mars, where Earth's secret fleet had once slept, the last warship was shut down. Its engines would never burn again. Commander Lyra stood beside it. Her war was over. A young cadet asked her, was it worth it? She looked up at the stars. Yes, because now, no child will ever grow up under fear. In Council space, where once towers of power had stood, new cities were being built together. Humans and aliens working side by side. The scars of war were deep, but so was the will to heal. Back on Earth, President Arya stood before the people of every world in a final broadcast. She spoke slowly, clearly, to all species. "We did not rise to destroy. We rose because we were betrayed. But we chose a different path. One where peace is stronger than fear. One where every world can speak freely. We are not rulers. We are your equals. And finally, to those still hiding in the shadows, still plotting like the old council, know this: we will never attack first, but we will always finish the fight. The stars listened, and for the first time in a long time they believed. Years passed. Children of many species studied Earth history in school. They read about the betrayal, the rise of the Black Fleet, and the day humans rewrote the laws of the galaxy. They didn't fear humans, they admired them. On an asteroid far from any system, a quiet human outpost watched the stars. It's not for war, not for control, but for peace. A message blinked on the screen. Unknown signal detected. Species unknown. Language unknown. The operator looked at it, then smiled. He opened Earth's first contact channel and sent a message into the dark. This is Earth. We bring peace. We listen. We do not rule. But if you come with war, be warned. We remember, and far beyond the galaxy. Something new answered back. The stars were no longer silent. They now echoed with a new law. A human law. A law born from betrayal, but forged in hope. Zentha Prime had always been loyal to the Council. It was clean, orderly, and heavily guarded. Every home had a Council flag. Every child learned Council history, but now the streets were on fire. The video from Earth, the confession of General Jarak, had reached every screen on the planet. The truth hit harder than any weapon. Citizens marched through the city squares. They carried signs that said, "Humans were right. Nitrogen monoxide. More lies. We are not tools." Council police responded with tear gas and shock weapons. Crowds did not run. They stood their ground. They had nothing left to fear. In the shadows of the city, a group of rebels gathered in an abandoned factory. They had watched Earth for years, quietly, silently, waiting, their leader. A tall, blue-skinned alien named Saren looked at the group. "Earth has done what we could not," he said. They broke the silence. "Now it's our turn to break the chains," another rebel asked. "Do you think Earth will help us?" Saren held up a small comms device. They already did. He pressed a button. A human voice came through comm, strong, full of purpose. "This is Commander Lyra of the Terran Black Fleet. We see you. You are not alone." The rebels stared in disbelief. Earth had spoken to them directly, Saren replied. "Into the device, we're ready." The next day, Zentha Prime shook. Explosions hit supply depots and government buildings. Rebel forces launched a surprise attack on the Council barracks. Local soldiers, confused and divided, hesitated. Some even joined the rebels by nightfall. The Council had lost control of the capital. President Arya Kale watched the footage from Earth's command center. The screen showed crowds cheering under a burning Council banner. Soren stood at the top of a tower, holding a new flag, blue and black, with a silver human star in the middle. "Zentha has turned," said one general beside her. Arya nodded. "One spark is enough to light the galaxy." In Council space, panic was growing. Council leader Torvik sat in a war chamber with red lights flashing. "How did Zentha fall in one day?" he demanded. No one answered. Admiral Vashen stepped forward, because their people were already lost. Earth gave them a voice. Torvik growled, then silenced the rest, crushed the uprising. But Vashen had another concern. She placed a report on the table. 5 other outer worlds have seen protests, and we've lost contact with 2 science stations near Earth space. Torvik leaned forward. "Do you believe the humans will keep attacking?" Vashen looked him in the eye. "They don't have to. The galaxy is breaking itself for them." Back. On Zentha Prime, Saran walked through the rebel base. Fighters trained, engineers repaired stolen ships, and in one room, a group of young aliens recorded a message. Saran stepped in. One of them asked, "Can we send it now?" Nodded. The message was short but powerful. "We, the free citizens of Zentha Prime, recognize Earth as a sovereign equal. We support their cause. We call for council reform now." The message spread fast. It reached far systems where Council control was weak. Miners, traders, scientists, and soldiers all listened. One by one, small groups began forming resistance. Cells. Quietly. Carefully. The Council's power was cracking. Back on the Horizon Breaker, Commander Lyra received encrypted messages from 10 systems. "We've started something bigger than a war," said her second-in-command. Lyra nodded. "This is not just about Earth. It's about every species the Council stepped on." Suddenly, the ship's AI spoke. "Incoming message. From your Tari system. Emergency code." The screen blinked. A bird-like alien appeared, feathers burnt. "Face bloody, they found us. Council warships attacking civilians. They're punishing us for speaking." Lyra's eyes turned cold. "Prepare jump," she ordered. "We're going to Yatari space." Earth was no longer just fighting for itself. Now, it fought for everyone who had been silenced, as Earth's warships turned toward Yatari space. Another message went out from President Arya to all races under Council rule. "We see your pain. We hear your voices. Stand. Resist. Earth is coming." Across the stars, the spark became a fire. The Council had betrayed Earth. But now, Earth was leading a rebellion against the stars. The stars above Earth were calm, peaceful, but far beyond the quiet sky. Death machines waited in silence until... Now in one single hour across the solar system, alarms turned green. Ships once hidden beneath moons, inside asteroids, and deep within artificial gas clouds came alive. Engines hummed. Weapons warmed. The long-sleeping war fleet of Earth was awake. At the edge of Neptune's orbit, the battleship Iron Truth powered. Up, after 20 years of sleep. I whispered, power core stable, awakening weapons. From Jupiter's shadow, a formation of stealth bombers flew in perfect silence, their black bodies invisible to sensors. On Pluto's icy surface, hidden drone factories opened like metal flowers. Thousands of AI-controlled fighters launched. Into the darkness, Commander Lyra watched it all from the Horizon Breaker. "The time has come," she said. Her second-in-command nodded. "We now have full activation across 6 fleets. Earth has more ships than the Council expected." Lyra turned to the fleet control screen. "Plot warp paths to key Council supply lines. We're not just fighting a war, we're cutting off their oxygen." Meanwhile, in the Council's war chambers, chaos was growing. Council leader Torvik shouted, "How did Earth build this many warships without being seen?" An advisor stammered, We thought their resources were limited. We never expected." This, Admiral Vashen stared at the latest reports. "This was their plan all along. They let us believe they were weak." Torvik slammed the table. "Then we burned them down." But even as he spoke, Earth's fleets moved fast. In Sector 91, a Council convoy of medical ships traveled slowly between stars. They had no weapons, no escort. 3 human cruisers decloaked beside them. The Council captain begged, "We're unarmed. We carry medicine." But the human commander only sent one message: "Leave, or we disable your ships permanently." The convoy turned and fled. Earth didn't want blood. Not yet. Back in Earth's war room, President Arya Kale stood before a wall of star maps. Lines of red-marked enemy targets. Dots of blue-marked human fleets. And now, new gold marks appeared: independent systems, requesting contact with Earth. "They're choosing sides," said General Merrick, "and many are choosing us." Arya nodded. "Good. Then let's show them why." She turned to the communications officer. "Prepare broadcast." A few minutes later, every open frequency in the galaxy played the same message. "We are Earth. We were betrayed. But we did not fall. We do not want control. We want justice. If you seek freedom, stand with us. If you stand in our way, prepare." Council tried to jam the signal, but it was too late. The message had reached billions. On a quiet moon near the edge of Council space, an old engineer turned off his screen. He had served during the first contact years. He knew what humans were capable of. He whispered to himself, "They're back." and they're not playing defense anymore. Back in deep space, Earth tested a new weapon. A cruiser called Final Echo launched a strange missile at a council listening post. The weapon didn't explode. Instead, it released a pulse that bent gravity. The station collapsed into itself, crushed without fire, without noise. A council scientist saw the recording. He turned pale. This is not council tech. Not even close. Earth had advanced in secret, faster than anyone thought possible. Faster than anyone thought aloud. Now, even neutral species began to take notice. The insectoid X-Farn sent a message to Earth. We remained silent, but no longer. We will assist. Other species followed: the Yatari, the Syrinx, the Alo. Small, at first, but growing. Back aboard the Horizon Breaker, Lyra read the incoming reports. We're getting support requests from 10 new systems, said her officer. And 20 cargo ships offering supplies. Lyra smiled faintly. The council ruled with fear. But fear fades. Hope spreads faster. Suddenly, an alert flashed on her screen. Council fleet detected. 300 ships. Approaching Yatari sector. Lyra stood. Send all active squadrons. I want full formation. We meet them head-on. The officer looked up. We outnumber them 2-1, she nodded. And we don't just stop them, we shatter them. Back on Earth, AI Sentinel lit up with new command threads. Hundreds of attack patterns activated at once. From Mercury's shadow to the edge of deep space. Earth's fleets moved as one. Cold, quiet, deadly. They did not attack planets. They did not burn cities. They destroyed Power Council control centers. Weapon, hubs, fuel depots. Every move was clean, sharp, and perfect. And every time. They vanished before the Council could strike back. A quiet message followed each attack. This is not revenge. This is justice. The galaxy now knew the truth. Earth was not weak. Earth was not afraid. Earth had awakened its fleet, and now the stars belonged to them.